Chapter 29. Spicy pork or chicken. College, marriage, kids. These were the big decisions that people believed mattered. They were wrong, of course. In reality, it was the choices that people didn't even realize they were making that set the course of their lives. The shifts were small, even minute, but by the tiniest of angles, they pointed one in the direction of what is going to happen next. In Kaishin's case, everything that was going to define the rest of his life was decided the second his eyes shifted from the instant spicy pork ramen to the chicken-flavored one, then back to the pork. He reached for the bright red pack and dropped it into a green plastic basket. This was not the time to experiment with new flavors. His long-haul flight to Tokyo was the next day, and the last thing he needed was an upset stomach during his trip. He wrinkled his nose at his instant ramen dinner and swore to get himself some real ramen as soon as he landed in Japan. He took a step back from the ramen shelf, planting the thick heel of his boot squarely on top of something that was clearly too soft to be the convenience store's tiled floor. A sharp yelp shattered any hope that he'd wronged a wayward pastry instead of a stranger's foot. He twisted around, an apology tumbling with his tongue ahead of him. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." "Where are we?" the woman said in Japanese. "Oh, hello," he said, shifting to Japanese. He scoured her small, heart-shaped face, searching for anything that might tell him who she was. He had never been good at names, but he doubted that he would have forgotten hers. "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" Hannah frowned. "It's me, Hannah." "Were you in one of my classes?" "What? No. Don't you remember? We jumped into a well, and I asked you to find a safe place for us to hide." "Right." He backed away from... Right. He backed away from her. "I'm sorry, but I need to go," he said, heading to the cashier. "Wait!" Hannah grabbed his arm. "I know you and you know me. Your name is Kaishin. You are a physicist, and you have accepted a job at the Super Kamikande detector. You are trying to find neutrinos." "Everyone at the university knows why I'm moving to Japan." "You were abandoned by your mother, and all your life every achievement and discovery you have chased after has been about trying to find something that will make you feel worthy of her love." Kaishin's basket slipped from his hand, scattering his dinner over the floor. "Who told you that?" "You did. You told me about how your mother left you when you were a young boy. The rest I saw for myself." "Who put you up to this? Is this some kind of prank? Because if it is, I'm not laughing." "Kaishin, Kai!" Hannah approached him slowly. "You need to listen to me very carefully. You did as I asked. You found a safe place for us to hide. We are in a moment in your mind so insignificant and small that no one would think to look for you in it. But you have hidden yourself too well. You have gone too deep." "This is insane." He marched to the exit. "Where will you go? To your apartment? To sit on a leather couch while listening to a song that will take you to a little boat floating on a quiet lake beneath the ground? Your beautiful trap." "How did you... You took me there. We were on the boat at the Super Kamikande." "But that's just a memory you borrowed from someone else." Hannah looked around the convenience store. "But this memory is your own, a fragment from a time before you stepped through a pawn shop store." "The pawn shop?" Kaishin squeezed his eyes shut. It was ransacked." "Yes." "And you were there. Your foot was bleeding." "I had stepped on glass." Kaishin blinked and stared at Hannah. I remember." Hannah exhaled. Throwing her arms around him, Kaishin held her tight. "Are we safe?" he whispered into her hair. "For now. We are still falling." "Falling?" "Through the well." Hannah drew away. "This is a detour. We could not go directly to any of the places I knew. Those places would have been easier for the Shikun to find. I am hoping that they will lose our trail if we stay here for a while."
How long?
Until morning, Hannah said. And then we will need to go to Haruto. Hannah. Kaishin hesitated. What is it? If the Shikun were able to find us at the Minshuku, don't you think they could have found out about Haruto too? No. But no. Her voice caught in her throat. He's safe. He has to be. Kaishin watched her draw short, ragged breaths through pale lips. He nodded, allowing Hannah to believe the lie she told herself. When running for your life, honesty was a luxury. Courage, even the false kind, was not. Kaishin and Hannah sat at one of the convenience store's counters, waiting for their instant ramen to be ready. Other customers walked past them without casting a sideward glance. Kaishin lifted the ramen bowl's foil lid. It's ready, just give it a stir. Hannah stirred the noodles with a plastic fork. It does not look like ramen. Kaishin smiled. Go on, try it. Hannah cautiously brought the forkful of noodles to her mouth. It is not bad. But it is not ramen either. Definitely not like any ramen you'd find in your world, Kaishin laughed. And that's a good thing. Why? Because nothing in that bowl is remotely good for you. Hannah swallowed another forkful. It is fortunate that none of this is real, then. I should probably eat every single thing here while I don't have to worry about making myself sick. Kaishin scanned the shelves. That looks interesting, Hannah said, pointing to a frozen drink machine. Why is it colored blue? Kaishin wrinkled his nose. I wouldn't recommend trying that even if it isn't real. Hannah laughed. Kaishin laughed too, a small chuckle that tickled his belly and did a little happy dance over his tongue. It grew rolling around his stomach and expanding in his chest uncontrollably and relentlessly. Kaishin chortled and gasped for air. A fit of giggling burst from Hannah's lips. Laughter exploded between them, knocking both of them to the floor. Kaishin rolled to his side and clutched his belly, tears welling in his eyes. Hannah sat up and leaned against a snack shelf, bringing her laughter to a stop, with slow, deliberate breaths. Kaishin sat next to her, his long legs stretched across the aisles. Damn, that felt good. Hannah smiled. It did. I don't even know what we're laughing about. At nothing, Hannah had panted. And everything. Kaishin's eyes wandered around the store. It feels strange to be back here. Because it isn't real? I don't think it would feel real even if I was actually here. This memory is only from a few days ago, but I no longer feel like the same person that I was in it. That will change. Hannah fiddled with a pack of chips she had plucked from a shelf. When all this is over, your old life will feel like the only one you've ever lived. Because I won't remember you, he said quietly. Hannah rested her head on his shoulder. You said that you were okay with not remembering my world. I was. And now? She closed her eyes. He held her hand, weaving his fingers through hers, as though it would keep her from slipping away. Different. Kaishin had lived all his life believing that time wasn't something you could hold. But tonight it fit perfectly into the paper cup warming his hands. 15 minutes looked and smelled exactly like a steaming latte. At the end of his time, when he had slipped the last of his dark, roasted seconds, he was going to wake Hannah, as she had requested, from the nap she was taking on his shoulder. She had said that they needed to be on their way before the sun was up, back to chasing clues and being chased. But for now, Kaishin's cup was full, and he had time to watch Hannah sleep. He brushed a stray lock of hair from her face. Hannah slept surprisingly peacefully for someone sitting on a convenience store's questionably clean floor. Kaishin felt calm too, partly because it felt good not to have to constantly look over his shoulder, but mostly because he had finally found an answer to a question that involved a broken elevator, a pregnant woman, and a battered box of free old books. I'm not getting that last bit. But mostly because he had finally found an answer to a question that involved a broken elevator, a pregnant woman, and a battered box of free old books. Maybe that's one for the Google. Okay, that's the end of the chapter.